people, are moving out of California and going to other places that are almost like copycat states, like, Nevada and Arizona and New Mexico. And so it's not quite California, no oceans lapping up to the shores, but the weather's warm and, and it's sunny a lot, and taxes are less and a whole bunch of other things. So, but no, they're really bringing those values in real estate. Thankfully, everyone here is so excited because, in the last couple of years, the majority of houses in this Maricopa County have doubled in price. And I think, it's really what people get used to. If you get used to a more expensive house, then that's the way it is. I feel for people that are starting out, coming out of college, don't have a huge asset base. It's because, the plane is taken off from the airport. The prices are already on, they maybe haven't hit 30,000 feet yet, but they're at 20,000 on their way. They're climbing up to 30,000. And
it's funny. I'm excited because, I don't have a lot of experience with Arizona, but now that my son is coming to college there, I'm super excited.
You know what? There's a lot of things about the state that you start researching and learning, and, the history of the state, and, just all the other sort of things. You pay a little more attention to the things that are going on there from a news standpoint. And, because you have something in the game, your son, it's like you want
100%.
Yeah, you want the best for him. There's no doubt you want it to be as good as possible. And, for him to be as knowledgeable as he can, whatever time he's invested here. It isn't just strictly about the educational, what you learn in the classroom. As there's so much of it is what you take in on a day in, day out basis, and the people that you meet. So yeah, I'm excited to have him here every day because, there's certainly things and times I could ask him to come along, and I think it would be good for him. Just
absolutely it will be. Well, I just got to tell you, it's funny because the whole housing thing, getting the housing situated, when I went to college, I don't remember any of that. I just it was really simple. My dad helped me. I signed up and I had housing, but there's so much housing over there. There's 25 different places to choose from. One single room, community bathroom, single bathroom, joined bathroom, joined group. It's so much information for somebody.
Yeah, it's, and I think the whole situation right now going on, trying to identify who people are, whether they're a birthing person or not a birthing person, and all those sort of things. You almost have to have a bathroom for each one of those individuals. So what now used to be one bathroom, one size fits all. That's not the way it goes anymore. You need, especially in certain buildings, you need all these designations. I don't know. I mean, I can't wait to see some of these signs. I grew up men and women, on signs, and a lot of buildings in this country have already been built already with the facilities of a man and a woman. And I think now, if possible, in certain states, they're probably going to try to just line up, basically a kaleidoscope of bathrooms and say, who are you? We've got the 18 doors here going down the hallway. So you can pick whoever you want to be, and you can go through there. And
well, that'll be a positive for everybody, because then everybody will be able to make their choice of how they want to be and where they want to go.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. It's not like, going to Santa Claus, around Christmas and sitting on his lap and get a picture taken. Really, I don't think, most people really put that much, effort or attention into it. But, it's certainly something that certain people, especially on the media, I think every day, make a huge point out of respecting people that have choices and different ideas and positions on who they are. And so anyway, I think that, it'll eventually all work out. And, but I think, your son going through what he's going through right now, I think is the best times of his life.
You know what? Listen to this though. This is crazy. I just thought of this. You know, we're still live. We're live now, so I want to catch up on a couple of things. But he got COVID this week, if you can believe it. Everybody in the family has been vaccinated. He chose not to get vaccinated. He has COVID.
Interesting. What's his condition? Is he just
He's
breathing or?
Okay? He's just got a temp of like 102, but he's okay. But you know, it was really interesting because all of us were, you know, encouraging vaccination.
Right.
You know, my parents, my family, my kids, and he didn't want to do it, and he got COVID. It's so crazy. I just can't even believe it.
Well, how many days was he actually incurring?
This happened on Tuesday. He was confirmed on Tuesday, so it's been 4 days, 5 days.
Yeah. Does he still have a lingering effect with it, or?
He's okay. I mean, he's okay. He had a high fever. He said that he's got a lot of aches, but I think that he's probably got the minimal symptoms, thank God.
Sure.
Or symptoms, thank God. But yeah, it's just ironic because I did not want to say you should have got vaccinated. You know what I mean? He's 18 years old. He's an adult. But I was thinking to myself, you should have got vaccinated.
Well, it's easy to look back on things and say, well, I wish I would have done something that I didn't do. And, thankfully, it was no more serious than some people have experienced loss of, smell and taste at times. But I think, the age bracket, the demographic that he's in is certainly a very high probability of getting over it, very quickly and not having any residual effect. And, I like watching news and television and all that, like everybody else in the world. But, I'm kind of convinced, maybe this is wrong, but I really feel strongly that, this virus wasn't hanging around for the last 200 years, 300 years. Somebody somehow they were able to put it on a platform and have it sent out into the general public. This is my belief. You might say I'm crazy, but I think, there was research that was definitely done on different viruses and things like this. And I think maybe one of the techs, basically settled on this virus and said, let's see what it's like when we send it out into the general population. And my point is, if they can make one, they can make another. And
it's interesting that you say that. LA, and that's why I was so surprised that my son turned up with it just this week, because I kind of felt like we were past. You know what I mean? Like we were kind of past all of it. And LA is opening up next week, I want to say, or in 2 weeks, everything's going to be kind of like back to normal. So I think that was what my more surprise was, because for me, I kind of feel like we're past the worst. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Then I thought to myself, but graduation, lots of kids, lots of family, lots of different people coming and going, just like you've had this week. You've had your daughter, your
bus station. Really, it was a bus station.
Yeah. You've had like so many family members.
It was funny. I think, and don't you think also that, when we talk about our country, our country now, this is true for Mexico and everybody here in Central America and North America. We're almost like one group now because the fluidity of from country to country is evident every single day. So, it's not just Americans getting vaccinated and taking, medication. It's really looking at the whole big picture because, at this stage of the game right now, I don't think you could tell what is the demographics, what's the population of the United States. No one could say that because it changes every day. And as long as you are bringing in an element that you can't account for, whether they have the virus or not, that's what you just mentioned, get vaccinated. I think that I'm not here as a spokesman for vaccines, but I think it's the right thing to do because, there are just so many open-ended questions right now about people that may have COVID and, are not detected or are going around spreading the virus without anybody knowing.
Yeah. Well, and now, so I'm excited for you because you're going to take your exam next week. and this will be in your wheelhouse, this whole stuff.
Yeah. You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of extra education.
Yeah. It's funny how, most of these companies that are out there looking for workers, and this is a big deal for me too, because, for 20 years I ran businesses that I was aggressively, hiring and employing people, training them, in a food service business. And you would think that with more population, coming into the country, that all of these occupations would be settled. You'd be having, oh, no, please stay home. We've got way too many people here right now. We can't take it anymore. But it's exact opposite. There's nobody working. Nobody wants to work. And whether it's unemployment insurance or just for fear of getting contaminated with somebody else that maybe isn't vaccinated, all those sort of things. So it's really, all these people that, act like they're the most brilliant, ingenious people in the world, just looking at the statistics every single day, you can see that that's not the case.
It's interesting that you just talking about that. One of the things when I work with my speakers and when I work with different businesses, the biggest thing is business owners are missing employees. They need employees. Like, there's so many businesses looking for workers out there in all different scales. I mean, from normal stuff to big jobs. I mean, they're looking for workers. And so it's been a really difficult thing from, things to do at BeverlyHills.com that I have, just working with different businesses and talking with them. People need employees.
It's funny, when I was a rookie with the National Football League in Chicago, I ended up buying a brand new Pontiac Firebird, which is like a Camaro vehicle lookalike, very low to the ground, 2 doors, big, powerful engine. I think I paid $5,500 for that, brand new, in 1975.
Wow. It's awesome.
What's happening to us right now, we all talk about the rising prices of homes, which, because you and I have had backgrounds in the real estate market, but I think start looking across everything, every utility, food, services, all those things now are becoming inflationary, because what was maybe 50% of the original cost as little as a year ago or whatever, things are going up tremendously. And, so it's a matter of, call it inflation, call it whatever you want to call it. It's, there's different numbers now for a cup of coffee, for a brand new car, for a house, for some other service. Maybe it's a professional service, medical, medicine, something like that. I think we just have to get used to it. And, whether it's increasing minimum wage or whatever the case might be, I think the same things, that same dollar that we had back in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, early, it's not the same dollar anymore. You need 2 or 3 of those. And so
totally right. I agree 100%.
Yeah, it's just hard. And I fear, even like with college, I had a great experience in college. I graduated in 4 years. I think I got a really good degree. And I went to class on a continual basis and consistent. And I basically got out of it. Could I have done more? Yeah, I could have done more. It's hard though when you are on a sports team in college. And even if you're getting a scholarship, you're going, okay, I'm getting this for free. You're not really getting it for free. I think it worked out that my senior year, there was one of the persons taking economics, and they went ahead and they put a value on it. How much time we spent being at football, practice, meetings, away from the games, recruiting, all those sort of things. And it worked out to be just under $3 an hour. Now, I know that those were different times back then, but you know what? I could have went out and got a job for more than $3 an hour. So when people say, oh yeah, you were so lucky you got a scholarship. No, it was a cheap paying job. That's what it was. Now, was it hard? Yeah, it was hard. I mean, it's one thing to get not paid very much to do a job. It's another thing to get all these injuries and concussions. That isn't like if you want to sign up at a fast food restaurant and they were willing to pay you $3 back in the 70s, you weren't getting knocked out. Your ligaments weren't getting torn off your knees and your elbows. So don't tell me it was some great, wonderful, okay, yes, I was lucky. I was fortunate to get drafted and go into the NFL and make $17, $18, $19,000 my first 3 years. Oh, I was so lucky. I didn't know what to do with the money, whether I was going to buy coffee with cream or 2 sugars, or, go out. When I bought a car, I bought the cheapest, the least expensive car I could. It was a Datsun B210, which is Nissan now. And it was a hatchback.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it was a little small car. The brand new price on that car was $1,700.
Wow.
Brand new. Now I owned the car for 10 years. It got 50 miles to a gallon of gas. I would open up the hood and look at the engine, and I swear it was not as big as a lawnmower engine. It was a teeny little thing. It looked like a plate of food down there, stacked up a little bit. It was not much bigger than a plate. And so I had no acceleration. I mean, I got up to like 55 or 60. That's it. You're not going any faster. You're not changing lanes. You're not accelerating. You're not beating anybody. So, it puts things in perspective. And, so I think, the most important part right now is, I think, especially like your son going to college, try to figure out rather early what he would want to do and make sure it's a job that can change and progress so that when times change, the economy changes, he has the capacity to maybe do something a little bit different and still have the same occupation.
I just gotta say this because it's so your personality and just how loyal and hardworking and amazing you are, that your Datsun that you bought for $1,700, you drove for 10 years.
That's exactly right. You know what?
You're so loyal, you're so loyal, you're so hardworking, you're so driven, but you're so consistent. And it was one of the things I love about you.
I would pull up to the Chicago Bears. They would laugh at me. I'm serious. Players would laugh at me like, look at him. He's driving. They didn't know what the price was. It was a little hatchback. It was only 2 doors. Really, if I wanted to, I could have probably pushed on the side of it and pushed it over. I'm serious, onto its side. But I walked into that dealership and I said, he goes, what can I help you, Doug? And I go, I want the cheapest car you have here. And he walked me out to this blue Datsun B210. Go check it up on Google afterwards.
I'm going to.
See what an impressive vehicle that it was. Has a hatchback on it. And but here's the crazy thing. I owned that car for 10 years. You and I were talking about inflation a little bit earlier. Do you know that after 10 years and after 95,000 miles that I had put on that car, I didn't drive it every single day. I had another car, really, I had kind of a boring life. People go, oh my gosh, you guys are out partying, going places. No, you don't go anywhere. You know what it is? When you are a professional athlete in a city, you don't want to go anywhere. You don't want anybody to recognize you because in your free time, because that's your time. That's your private time. So if I'm at the, plus the television wasn't like it was now, media. Nobody really knew who I looked like. I was underneath a helmet and long blonde hair coming out the back. But the people that did
looked like a surfer.
Yeah, I'm always trying to maintain a low. So anyway, I bought that car for $1,700. 10 years later, and almost 100,000 miles, I sold that car for $5,500.
No way.
Yes,
that's incredible.
$500. It was like a home. It was like a house right now in the current economy. It's going up in price. It's not going down. And
that's incredible. Who would have?
Maybe because I drove it, because I was asking like $3,000 for it, and the guy that came out and bought it from me, he goes, "Man, I didn't know you played for Chicago Bears," and I signed a couple autographs for him, and he wrote me out a check, and that was it. I said,
you know what? The value that you're missing is that you were a Chicago Bears player, so he probably wanted the car to say that it was Doug Planks from the Chicago Bears, number 46.
you could have definitely done that. Yep.
And he, who knows? He probably sold it for 15,000.
Yeah, it is funny, but I just think these new numbers that we're seeing every single day, price of housing. With you in California, you could look at housing even more, speculatively, because prices are even higher in California than they are here in Scottsdale, Arizona. But it's always been that way, and I think it always will be that way because when you have sunshine and an ocean, and there's a lot of benefits, and I know there's some things right now that California is struggling with, some of the homeless things, people like that, but you know what? They have to go a long way to have people not want to come there. I mean, I think people living in the Midwest, you live in the Midwest or even in the colder states, there's only a certain point in time, you say, I've had enough of this. I don't want cold weather anymore. I don't. And when you make out like it's snow and everybody's skiing, I never saw any in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania. I never saw anybody ski. In the winter, it wasn't like some winter wonderland. I mean, I was in industrial towns. We didn't have salt like other people. Huge trucks would go down the street and dump ashes from all the mills, all the companies that were burning things, coal. So they put this black ash all over the roads for traction. When you drove down there, if you had a white car, it was not white when you got to the other end of the street. I'm serious. It was like driving in mud for 3 months out of the year. And there was no salt on the road. Like I said, it was all coal ashes from steel.
I never heard of that before.
Oh my gosh. It was some of the ugliest things you've ever seen in your life. There might be something on the computer. I'm sure there is. Just look at it. I remember, and it was what was hard about it sometimes too, when you were driving in the winter, when another truck or vehicle was on a highway and came by you, the debris from the road and the tires would cover your entire windshield. You couldn't see anything for 2 or 3 seconds. Your windshield wipers are trying to get it off. Hey, how do you get off iron ore and coal and dirt from your window? It takes a while. It isn't like one swipe, like a raindrop, and it's off the screen. No, it's, just some great memories of Pittsburgh during the day. And, it went hand in hand. Even when I would go downtown for something that I had to do when I was in high school, you would see this huge cloud hanging out over top of the city, like something coming out of a Alice in Wonderland movie or something, or Disney. Here's this big black cloud over top of the city. You go, man, that can't be real. Someone must have just made that thing up. No, that was real. That was because of 1,000 factories there just burning and burning and burning fuel. And so it was a great perspective to have, though, because you know what? It gets back to what you and I talked about, Megan. You learn what you don't want to do. And I think there's something wonderful about that. I think even for the people that go to prison and they do menial things, sweeping and cleaning and all that kind of stuff, they don't want to do that anymore. Honestly, I think it's another one of the things that they learn, when I get out of here, I'm not going to do this anymore. I've learned my lesson. And I think a lot of people in those cities back in the 50s and 60s, wow, they definitely learned their lessons.
I love it. Well, I'm going to, I try to keep our podcast to 30 minutes so our viewers, can listen while they're driving in their car. So I'm going to stop the live part and then I'm going to call you on the phone to talk with you about our other stuff we have going on.
Okay, sounds good.
Super job, though. I love talking to you, and I hope our viewers and listeners love hearing our podcast because it's just so fun. You're such a wealth of amazing information.
You know what it is, though, Megan? Everybody thinks someone lives a different life. No, everybody lives the same life. It's the same story. It's just a different place. It's a different location. And, I would have liked to have lived next to the ocean. Oh my gosh. The first time I saw it, it like took my breath away. Like, oh, look at that. You know, the biggest thing I'd ever seen was a lake in Pennsylvania, like to go fishing or something. Well, yeah, you could throw the lure with your fishing rod almost across the other side of the lake. You're not going to do that with the ocean. These waves coming in, wow. I mean, you could just hear the power, and you're going, man, there's so many things out there that I need to see or do. And that's one thing I really encourage people to do. I go, man, go try to see the world if you can. You know, I've enjoyed a couple of my trips over to Europe. Not so much because I was envious of wanting to be over there. I just said, this is so different. It's so different. You know, the way people act, their behavior, the things that they say. Obviously, I don't know what they were saying, but even like their mechanical things, cars and stuff like that. I had a good friend about 10 years ago now. He couldn't wait to go over to Europe, and he was there one day, and I called him, and they said he's in the hospital. And I go, he's in a hospital? He goes, yeah. He was on the curb, and he looked to his left to see if a car was coming, and there was no cars coming, so he stepped onto the road. Well, it's backwards in Europe. The cars don't go this way. He stepped right in front of a car and broke his leg. He was at the hospital. I'm thinking, wouldn't it have been nice to know, hey, listen, I would have been telling myself that every single minute. The traffic goes the other way. The traffic goes the other way. Don't look to your left, because you know what? Everything's coming this way here. He just stepped right in front of a truck, and one broke his leg and then ran over his foot. So he broke his foot and his leg at the same time. Yeah, it's a vacation he'll never ever forget.
Horrible.
So anyway.
Well, good luck on your test. I can't wait to hear about it next week. Everybody will be rooting for you.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
I'll call you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks.